Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You're listening to Daily C1 English Vocabulary. My name is Emma.
And my name is Tom.
Today, we're diving into 10 essential business idioms that native speakers use every single day in offices, on calls, and in emails.
Understanding them will help you follow discussions more easily, respond naturally, and sound more fluent in professional English.
We're starting with one of the most common phrases you'll hear in any professional environment: circle back. It means to return to a topic, conversation, or task at a later point. When something can't be resolved right now, you circle back to it once you have more information, more time, or the right people involved.
For example, we don't have the full data yet. Let's circle back on this after Thursday's meeting. Or, I'll circle back with you once I've spoken to the legal team.
One thing worth paying attention to is how to use this phrase grammatically. You'll most often hear it in three patterns. First, circle back on something. When referring to a topic, let's circle back on the budget question. Or, I'll circle back on this once we have the client's feedback.
Second, circle back with someone. When referring to a person you'll follow up with. I'll circle back with you once I have the numbers. Or, can you circle back with the team after the call?
And third, circle back to something. When returning to a specific point, can we circle back to what Sarah mentioned earlier? Or, I'd like to circle back to the timeline we discussed last week.
All three are correct, but they emphasize slightly different things. On focuses on the topic, with focuses on the person, and to focuses on the moment or point you're returning to. This phrase is semi-formal and works equally well in emails and spoken conversation.
Closely related, but subtly different, is our next phrase: touch base. This means to briefly make contact with someone to check in, share a quick update, or confirm something. It comes from baseball, where a runner must touch each base as they go around the field. Let's touch base before the client call to make sure we're aligned. Or, I just wanted to touch base. Have you heard back from the supplier?
It's slightly more informal than circle back and works best when you want to have a short, low-pressure check-in. Not a full meeting, not a long email, just a quick connection. If circle back means let's return to the subject later, touch base means let's check in now, briefly. Use it when you want to stay connected with a colleague without making it into a big deal.
What about things you're aware of, but haven't acted on yet? That's where "on my radar" comes in. If something is on your radar, you know about it, and you're keeping an eye on it, even if you haven't done anything yet. The new market regulations are on my radar. I'll brief the team next week. Or, don't worry, that project is very much on my radar.
There's also a useful opposite, off my radar. It means something slipped your attention completely. I'm sorry, that deadline went completely off my radar. This is a neutral, professional phrase. It's great when you want to reassure someone you haven't forgotten something, or when you want to signal you're watching a situation without making it sound urgent.
And staying informed brings us to our next phrase: in the loop. If you're in the loop, you're being kept updated. You know what's going on. If you're out of the loop, you've missed something that others already know. Please keep me in the loop on any changes to the budget. Or, I've been out of the loop this week. Can someone catch me up?
This phrase is neutral and works everywhere. Emails, messages, meetings. You'll also hear it as a verb. I'll loop you in on the email chain. That means someone will be added to the conversation. It's a simple phrase, but an important one. Keeping people in the loop is how teams stay aligned, and asking to be in the loop shows you're engaged and responsible.
Now imagine you're in a meeting. Someone raises a point that's important, but it's too detailed, too sensitive, or just not relevant for everyone in the room. That's the moment to say, Let's take this offline. It means let's continue this conversation outside of the current meeting, one on one, or in a separate call.
That's a great point, but it involves some sensitive details. Let's take it offline. Or, this is getting complex. Can we take it offline and come back with a proposal? Despite the word offline, this has nothing to do with the internet. It simply means stepping away from the main group discussion. It's semi-formal and very widely used. It's also a polite phrase. It doesn't shut someone down. It says, your point matters, and it deserves a proper conversation.
Let's talk about numbers. Specifically, when you don't have exact numbers yet. A ballpark figure is a rough estimate, an approximate number when precision isn't possible yet. I don't have the final quote, but as a ballpark figure, we're looking at around 15,000 euros. Or, can you give me a ballpark figure for how long the project will take?
This comes from American baseball. A ballpark is a stadium. The idea is that you're somewhere in the general area, close enough to be useful, but not exact. It's neutral to informal, and it's genuinely practical. It sets expectations without overpromising. Both speakers understand it's an approximation. It opens a conversation, not a commitment.
At some point in every project, the relaxed planning phase ends. The deadline is close. The pressure is on. That moment is crunch time. The product launch is next Friday, so it's crunch time for the whole team right now. Or, we always find out who the real performers are during crunch time.
This is neutral to informal, and you'll hear it with a particular energy, sometimes stressed, sometimes motivating, often both. It's similar to down to the wire, but crunch time is more about the intensity of work required, not just the ticking clock, but the effort everyone needs to put in right now.
Once crunch time hits, decisions can't wait anymore. You need to act. That's when someone will say, it's time to pull the trigger. It means to finally make a decision and commit to it, especially after a long period of hesitation. We've been discussing this software upgrade for months. It's time to pull the trigger. Or, she pulled the trigger on the new hire just before the quarter ended.
This is neutral to slightly informal. It's useful for decisions that have been delayed. There's a sense of finality to it. This is the moment of commitment. Compare it to make the call, which is similar but softer. Pull the trigger carries a bit more weight. It suggests there's no going back.
So you've made the decision, you've taken action. But is it actually working? In business, when something moves the needle, it produces a real, noticeable result. We've tried several small campaigns, but nothing has really moved the needle on brand awareness. Or, if we want to move the needle on retention, we need a completely different approach.
This idiom originally referred to measurement devices with moving needles that indicate change. You'll hear move the needle a lot in strategy meetings and performance reviews. It raises the bar. It's not about doing something. It's about doing something that actually makes a difference.
And our last phrase for today is put a pin in it. Put a pin in it means to pause a topic temporarily and return to it later. It comes from the image of pinning a note to a board. You're not throwing it away, you're saving it for later. That's a really interesting idea. Let's put a pin in it and come back to it next month. Or, we're running short on time, so let's put a pin in the pricing discussion for now.
It's informal to semi-formal. It doesn't dismiss what someone said. It acknowledges the idea has value while moving the conversation forward. Compared to postpone, put a pin in it sounds lighter and more conversational.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. You now know how to follow up with circle back, check in with touch base, and stay informed with On My Radar and In the Loop. You can redirect a meeting with Take It Offline, give a rough number with a ballpark figure, and power through deadlines during crunch time. You can commit to decisions by pulling the trigger, track real impact with Move the Needle, and gracefully pause any conversation by putting a pin in it.
Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, keep learning.
And we'll see you in the next episode.